morning, everyone, and afternoon or evening or good time zone to you, wherever you are. Welcome to the Saturday Roundup. We're all happy to be here. And once again, we have Denise joining us.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Denise. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good morning.
Excellent. And of course, Vicky is my regular co-host. And we also have our member of the week, Karen, is joining us. How you doing, Karen?
Hello. Finally, we have a guest.
Yes, it's been a
None
while.
of our member of the week could make it to meet us.
Yeah.
So thank you, Karen.
You're very welcome.
Excellent. So we have lots of people in the chat, and other people will be joining us shortly as the hour goes on. And of course, welcome to everyone who's watching this after the fact. Rick Cleland, another one from Ontario, just a little bit south of me here, is joining. Hello. And Fiordalisi, one of our regulars. John Tyner from Ireland is here. How you doing? Ozzy, that's Melanie from Down Under. How you doing? Roosters? Rugby? What? I'm not quite sure what your comments about there, but well, Sydney Swans. Okay. Interesting. It's always interesting to join the chat, and lots of chat happens even before we begin the official.
It's something about sports.
Is it something about sports? Okay, then.
Yeah, rugby, I guess.
Rugby or some cricket time is what John's saying. So, okay, I saw Chris Furiolo is here, and he's reminding me that we do have to end at a certain time because at 12 noon, so in 2 hours from now, there will be the Zoom meeting for the WikiTree challenge, because the WikiTree challenge has started this week with Catherine Wilson, and people are working on adding new members to her tree, her extended tree, improving her CC7 score. And there is a meetup at noon, and so we have to stop talking so they can start talking at noon. Hopefully, we'll be a little more efficient. So yes, Chris, we will stop. And there's Victor. How you doing? And let's see, Veg Beauty Tia is here. Scrolling through, I'm pretty sure I saw Murray Maloney is here. We said Howard did. Rick, Susie Carter, how you doing, Susie? I'm glad the electricity and the internet just came back on for you. Good. Jeff is here, and Tommy Buck. Robert Cowan from Poole in Dorset. Nice. And I think I got everything. Did I miss anyone?
Robert Cowan.
Robert Cowan. I think I said.
Did you mention him?
Yeah, he's from Poole in Dorset. Yes. Yeah.
Well, Team Tams for
Thursday.
My Aussie friends.
Yeah. Good time. Chocolate Tim Tams doubled. Sounds good. Excellent. Yeah. Well, this is exciting, and so we are so excited to have a special guest. Why don't we start off?
Yes, sure. And I saw Anne says hi, Ohio, and Denise. She's very informed. Yeah. Well, and our guest for today is from Texas. We have Karen Hoy. She's a member of the week, and Karen is a data doctor. Yes, she's yes. She leads and she leads a project, a one-name study. Yes. And she's been a WikiTreeer for 11 years now.
That's correct.
Yeah. So tell us about your roles in the Data Doctors Project, and what is your one-name study that you lead?
My role in Data Doctor is one of the project leaders, but mainly I work on creating videos for instructions on the suggestions and the error reports. The problem is they get outdated almost as soon as I make them. It's so fluid. WikiTree is so fluid with how they do things.
Right.
So, job security.
I really love those videos, Karen. Now, you've taken a break. Yes. You haven't made them for a while, right?
For a few years, but I'm starting now I'm just about ready with my first one to go back on.
Oh, excellent. And did you know that for the Mystery Box Challenge, which was Vicky's idea that we put that together, we incorporated those videos when they were...
I didn't know that.
We used them. Yes, they were very, very useful.
Well, good. I'm glad some good is coming out of it. They're really fun to make.
Oh, good.
And with the new design, are there too many changes maybe?
The basic underlying suggestion doesn't change. Whatever the problem is, no matter how many bows you tie on it, it's still going to be the same basic information. So even though some things are outdated, you can still figure out what you're supposed to do to fix things. But Alicia keeps making more suggestions and errors and fine tuning. I'll never get them all done, but I'll have fun trying. And my one name Seti is from a show. That's my maiden name.
Exactly.
And most of them come out of French Canadian backgrounds. So there's a lot of French parish records I've learned to read. That's what in the member of the week, I said I could read enough French to get in trouble, and that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, and you're related to Greg. We just discovered that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're ninth cousins.
That's right.
Right. And how did you get interested in genealogy? Tell us about that. What's your story?
I was a military kid, moved around a lot, didn't have one home, went to 18,000 schools, that kind of thing. And then I was in my 20s or 30s, I guess, and my dad discovered his family back to the 1600s. And I was so thrilled to actually feel like I belonged to somewhere. That it just stuck with me.
Yeah.
Just knowing there was a whole slew of people that brought me here.
So. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I highlighted from your interview. You said the sense of being connected, of belonging was intense.
It was very intense.
Yes, and you said, I truly want the same experience for everyone who desires to know where they come from, what their ancestors survived, and what they achieved. I think that's what moves us all here. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's great that you're working for it, so everyone has the same feeling that you got.
Yes, and with WikiTree now, a lot of them get a head start. They don't have to go digging. They just click into their immediate and family, and once they've got that connected, they can go back as far as they want. It's already laid out for them. It's there.
Yes. And what about you gave some tips for people who could get, to people, so people could get more involved in our community. What would you tell them?
Well, like I said in my interview, don't be afraid to get it wrong. Don't be afraid to mess up. Because so many people are afraid that they're going to get in trouble if they get something wrong. And you won't. There's no sheriff, no posse, nobody coming to get you. Just do your best. And if you get it wrong, you can fix it later.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially the newbies, right?
Yes.
Or newts. Yes, don't be afraid. And there's always someone eager to help you the way.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about your favorite ancestor? Since we're talking about the American Revolution today. There's someone special there.
Yeah, my mother's father's side of the family. I can trace all the way back to Leonard Garrett. I can't get beyond him, but he and his brother and his sister, I I figured some things out about them. But he was in Valley Forge with George Washington on that cold, bitter winter.
Mm.
And once he got out, he was awarded land, like so many of them were. And he just gradually moved his way south and west till he wound up in Missouri. And I talked to the lady of the cemetery where he was buried. She said she's seen his tombstone once, but it's all torn down now.
Oh.
So you've got Revolutionary War veterans who just aren't not being taken care of. I wish I could go in there and fix it. But he's my favorite. Leonard Garrett, he's my favorite.
At least you know where he is,
Yeah.
where his remains are.
Yeah.
That's great. Great. And what about your one name study, or what about data doctors? What kind of help do you need? You can make a call here.
Okay, data doctors. It's great for people who want to help make profiles easier to read, easier to understand, easier to fit into the I can't remember the word now, but fit into the way the computer operates to find things.
Exactly.
And with all the coding that's involved, if people could just come in there and get it all straight, it would be so much easier to find things and find people and find information.
For Cousin Babe.
So if people are interested in detailed work like that, come on, we can use you. We can use you.
Is that because like the focus of a lot of the data doctor suggestions are fixing up like dates and locations and things that search engines can zoom in on? Or
that's what I was search engines. I knew it was
search engines.
Right. And not just search engines, but yourself. If you're looking for someone and you've got information, you know, if the profiles aren't formatted right or don't have the right information, then it's hard.
It won't show up.
Yeah.
It won't show up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of moving parts to WikiTree. And for people who created a profile 4 years ago, they need to go back and look at it again. Because things have changed.
Right.
They can get their information sorted better. So data doctors can help do that.
That's right. And all of us, when we first started, well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't talk to everyone, but at least myself and many people who I talk to, when you first start, those first few profiles you make, you don't always like the full, you may not put the full place name, you know, might just stop at Toronto. You know, everyone knows where Toronto is. Why do I have to put Ontario, Canada afterwards?
Or or they abbreviate CA.
Yes, exactly.
And everybody thinks it's California.
That's right.
Instead of Canada.
Yes. I once had a package that I ordered not show up because it went to California instead of Canada. I put the correct address, but the person from the delivery company had misinterpreted it. So that's a mistake I'm very familiar with.
The thing I'd like to mention is the suggestions report that comes out every week. A lot of people don't know that's there.
Yeah.
And I was on WikiTree for I don't know how long before I realized it was there. And I had 9 screens full versions I needed to make. It's like, oh my God, palm to forehead. Oh, what am I thinking? So if people know that's there, they can catch a lot of that sooner rather than later, and they won't be so overwhelmed.
Yes. Well, I just visited my suggestion list just the other day because I was on a call with I think Kathy Nava. We were talking about something, and I was trying to tell her how to get to WikiTree Plus quickly. She said, "Well, just go to your suggestion list because that's right on WikiTree Plus."
Right.
And I had my suggestion list down to 0. Like for 7 generations, there were 0 suggestions. But when I looked at it yesterday for the first time in a couple of years, whoa.
Oops.
Yes.
I know.
That's what I was going to say. We like to think that we have it all cleaned up, but no, there's always something.
It's Alicia's fault.
Alicia's
fault. Yes,
right.
He keeps finding stuff to fix. So
that's right.
Exactly. Yeah. And now that we have the how do you call it? It's the range? No, the profile.
Oh, the content ranking.
The rate.
Yeah.
Oh
rating.
yeah.
Probably it's more now.
He's
more
really fine tuned, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see how your profile really is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, Karen, we would like to help you and congratulate you again for being member of the week, and thank you for all your work.
Well, thank you for having me.
For our tree. I invite you to stay with us. You can comment, you can play connection checkers. And now I will tell you, since we were talking about how we created some profiles years ago and left them behind, I will tell you what you can do with those profiles. And that's the Profile Makeover Challenge.
Okay. Before we start that, Vicky, Jeff actually has a question that maybe Denise can answer. So Jeff's question was, the Data Doctor suggestion number 800 series deals with inline citations, but is there a specific suggestion that deals with formatting inline citations?
A suggestion that
I mean, they have to start with a ref tag and end with a /ref, right?
Right.
But other than that?
No.
Formatting.
The ref tag. The only thing I know about the ref tag is that it has to start with an alpha, not a numeric.
If you give it a name equals, right?
Yeah, name equals, even if it's like you run an 1800 census, put a C 1800 or something, a letter in front of the numbers. Because they won't take just numbers. But other than that, there isn't a whole lot to formatting them.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. When you use inline citations, Karen, as an expert, do you always name them, or do you just use a bald ref?
If I only use it once, there's no need to name it.
There's no need, right? Yeah.
But if you are going to use it multiple times, you do need to name it instead of using the same source over and over and over. You just clutter up your page.
Right.
So name it if you're going to use it more than once.
Right.
But if it's only once, there's no need to name it.
Right.
Okay. And if you name it, then you can use it on different profiles, or you have to create one for each profile. You have to
create one for each profile.
Yeah. But you can use it multiple times in the same profile.
Yeah.
So
but once you've got it set up, you can just copy and paste it onto your next profile.
Yeah.
So it won't be that difficult.
Yeah. I've done that before with like one source and multiple locations in the bio. For example, if I don't have a birth record, but I have a death record that does indicate where when the birth was, then I'll put the full citation. And I don't know if this is the right way or not, but it works. I put the full citation in the paragraph that talks about the death.
Right.
But then, and I use a name equals death.
Right.
And then I put the short version of the link up at the birth one, saying this person was born then, and then I put that ref tag, name equals death,
and then slash
with a slash, and then so it shows up. The reference shows up twice, but I only have to put it in once full. But I put the full one where the original where it belongs. I think logically.
Yeah. For the parish records for births, I will use the same reference, one for the birth and one for the baptism, because they're usually 2 different days.
Yes.
Sometimes they're months apart. So, but it'll be the same entry, the same parish record, but you just give it an named inline citation and use it one for both backs.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I cheat. I put all of it, the birth and baptism in the opening paragraph for my profiles usually when I write them, and then I put the citation at the end of the whole paragraph, presuming that everyone realizes it references to everything I've wrote.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I do that too.
Yeah.
And we have, I like this comment from Melanie. Named refs annoy me when they are the only time used.
Oh,
I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah, there's no need.
There's no need.
Right.
Exactly.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I suppose. But you know what? In defense of that, though, if you get in the habit of always putting a name on the reference, a citation, then you're thinking about, okay, this citation's for this fact, and so it's a good habit to get into, because then when you want to use it again, you don't have to go back and think, did I name
And
it or not?
create it.
I don't know.
You
I
can
can
name.
see. I can
like
see the depth.
name
I
them.
can see that. Yeah. I can
You
see
can
both.
name them at the very beginning of the citation. Put death, and then all the information on the source,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you look at your sources, you can just scan down death, marriage,
That's
census,
true.
and it's all
Mhm.
in
It's all there.
bold. You can find it easier.
Yes, that's the way
That's true.
the WikiTree Sourcer extension does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that. That is
I
nice
like
how
it
that
too.
pops out in the sources. Yeah.
And have you seen the auto-generated bio?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I love that. When I'm working on profiles that have nothing in the biography section, but
It's
they
sad.
have facts up in the up the fields, the name, the date, and all that. You just click that, and it sets up a bio for it. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's so easy.
Yeah.
So easy, and it's so much better than a blank screen.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Now, Murray Maloney has joined us from Collingwood, and he has suggested this, and this might be the answer to Jeff's question about the formatting for inline citations. He's suggesting you put the ref after punctuation, so either after a comma or after a period of whatever fact you just described, but no space after that punctuation before.
Now, that's the way I do it.
Yeah.
I'm with Murray. That's exactly the way I do it.
Mm-hmm. So you put you're typing your bio, the details of what it is, and then if it's the end of the sentence, and then you put your reference, or comma, and you put your reference, but no space between the period or the comma after.
Right.
Now, I don't
so
know
that it's clearly identified with that segment
of
text. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
great tip.
yeah.
Oh, that's an example.
There we go. Perfect.
Great.
Wow.
Thank you, Melanie.
Okay.
Thank you, Mel.
We have all the editors, all the text editors and proofreaders in our chat today. That's great.
Wow. Yeah. They're all experts.
Some of us need a lot of proofreading.
Yeah, sometimes you start focusing on something and you leave profile editing behind, and then you have to.
Or you write with run-on sentences, like me.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, shall
Sorry
we see
to
the profile
distract you.
makeover?
You were about to go on about the profile makeover.
Because you keep giving me some more material, because I have some profiles that really need attention because they don't have bios, and it's so sad. So let me show you. Karen, I don't know if you know this, but we have a challenge that runs the whole month, and it's the Profile Makeover Challenge, where you choose one profile that needs attention, that is left behind with no bio or no sources, and you take a screenshot from the before, and then we show the after. So it's really well, I like it. I really love this challenge. So we started to suggest some themes for every month, and this month I suggested the Beatles, because I'm a big Beatles fan. So when I think, what do we do in July, Julia, and that's a Beatles song, Julia, and then I thought, Julian, who is John Lennon's child.
Yeah.
Yes, the son. And Paul McCartney wrote a song for Julian, that is Hey Jude. So, okay,
Hey Jude
that's the
was written
Beatles.
for Julian?
Yes, for Julian.
I didn't know that. That was the first record I ever bought, was Hey Jude.
Oh,
from a record
now you know
store.
the story.
Wow.
So I said, okay, that's it, the Beatles. Nice. So we have here the profile of John Lennon, and that's beautiful. I'm not going to show you a makeover because we don't have one yet,
Mhm.
but I'm going to give you some ideas. We have a beautiful, great profile for John with stickers, a whole biography, photographs. So this is great. He doesn't need any makeover.
Mhm.
Paul McCartney's also a great profile,
Mhm.
biography. He's alive, but
Mhm.
yet he has a proper biography.
Mhm.
And then we have, I wanted to show you this profile because his first wife,
Right.
Linda McCartney, passed away in 1998. But she also has a good, decent profile.
Mhm.
But I think she could use more, a little love, a little dashes of
Mhm.
love.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Because,
small.
yes, it's so
Biography's pretty
short.
small. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Linda had a really interesting life. She was a photographer. So maybe we could
Yeah.
add some of her work as a photographer. She wrote a cookbook, and she was a vegan, also as Paul McCartney. So maybe we could tell
Mhm.
something else about her. And she was always with the band when
Mhm.
with Wings,
Mhm.
the
Right.
solo band of Paul McCartney. So if you want to, you can give Linda some love. And maybe you can choose her.
I do
Uh,
remember hearing Paul McCartney talking about when they decided to go vegan.
uh-huh.
He said they were having lamb chops,
Hmm.
and they looked at the window and saw these lambs and sheep
Oh
running to the
no.
pasture. And then they looked at their plates and looked at the lambs and looked at their plate and went, "No, we aren't doing this." And that's when they
Oh.
Yeah.
decided to go vegan.
Yes, yes, and they were very active in protecting animal rights,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
not only being vegan, but also uh, helping some organizations.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then we have this third Beatle, George Harrison, who also passed away in 2001. And he, of course, has a good, great biography
Mhm.
Mhm.
with sources, photographs. But
Nice.
his family is really abandoned.
Hmm.
This is his mother, Louise Harrison, and she has
Oh,
no bio.
no bio at all.
This is just
Of
what
course
we were
they
talking
didn't.
about.
Ah.
Yes, you could also. I mean, at least you could press the auto bio
Yeah.
button.
Mhm.
Yes,
Have something there.
it's so easy.
Mhm.
It has sources, so we know that there's a bio for her somewhere.
Mhm.
So this is one of the profiles you can choose for the profile makeover. And also we have Louise Caldwell, and
Mhm.
that's George's sister.
Ah. Okay.
And look at this. The profile is
Is it in?
not.
Nothing there. Yeah.
It's private. She
Oh, it's
died in
private.
2020s. That's recent.
Okay.
But this profile was created in 2014, and it's still private. And you would have to ask for permission of the profile makeover to
Mm.
edit. So this is wrong.
Mhm.
So maybe you'd like to ask for permission or ask for the admin to unblock this.
Mhm.
We can do that, right, Greg?
Mhm. Yeah. Now, if someone as recently as the in the 20s, yeah, if someone passed away in the 20s, then that I think there is some discretion there, depending on
Mm-hmm.
family and whatnot. But you
Up to.
certainly ask if there's a reason why it needs to still be private. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but it was last modified 2 years ago.
So I'm wondering if it was last modified in December 2023. I wonder if that's when they entered the death date,
Oh, maybe we
because
could
it
check
says
that.
died in 2020 in the 20s.
Let's see. Oh no, someone added the child.
Oh.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And look at that. She might be in the trusted list because she's not the profile manager.
Mm.
So maybe
Interesting.
we can
Investigate
write.
that. Yes.
Yeah, we can write Toby Rockwell, who's the
Mm-hmm.
the profile manager,
Mm-hmm.
and he could give some permissions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then we have Peter Harrison, the
Mm-hmm.
brother
Mm-hmm.
of George Harrison, and also locked. He died in the 2000,
Right.
25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We say 2000. It seems it was
I know.
not
It's
long
just around the
ago.
corner, but yeah, we're a quarter of a century in. How's that possible?
Yes. And also, Toby, please unlock this.
Yeah.
So, well, those are profiles that need some
Mm-hmm.
love. And finally, we have Ringo Starr,
Oh,
the
yes.
drummer,
Mm-hmm.
and we also have a good profile for
Mm-hmm.
him. But we have his mother, no bio.
Oh,
And this is not locked, so you can work on Elsie
Elsie,
Graves.
nice.
Yes, that's his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can give some love here.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Oh, and then I opened,
There's
this is
Julia.
Julian. This is
Mm-hmm.
Julian's
Mm-hmm.
profile, just to show you we have Yoko, and maybe you can work on those lines too,
Mm-hmm.
just to give you some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And we have answers for the profile makeover. Here I give you some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about songs that
Oh,
mention some
Eleanor
names.
Rigby, yes.
Yeah, Bill. There's Bill. Well, I don't remember the name of the song right now.
Mhm.
Eleanor Rigby,
Yeah.
Hey Jude, Julia, Lucy in the Sky
Sky with
with
diamonds.
diamonds. Maggie, it's Maggie May, Maxwell
Silver
Silverhammer,
Hammer, yes.
Martha. My grandmother
Yes.
was my grandmother's name is Marta in
Okay.
Spanish.
Right.
But this year I recently discovered that she wrote her name as Martha.
Ah.
So I will probably enhance her profile
Mm.
and talk about that. Michelle,
Misha Mabel.
probably you know the lyrics to the
Mm-hmm.
French part, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Pam, Polythene Pam was another song.
Ah,
Penny
Penny.
Lane.
Penny Lane. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, Prudence is, I have also I put
Neat.
some examples. I have a relative called Prudencia, so
Ah,
it's Prudence.
yes.
Lovely Rita, that's another
Oh,
song.
yes.
Dr. Robert was the
Oh.
name of the song, and Sexy Sadie was one.
Hmm.
And of course, you can choose John, Paul, George, Richard as a name, or someone that maybe was born or lived in Liverpool,
Liverpool.
or maybe you could get inspired by the name of a song. I don't know, you name it. Yellow Submarine, someone who
Oh, who lived
worked.
in or worked in a submarine? Or, yeah, was a
Yeah,
submariner.
yeah, just be creative.
That's
It's
great.
just an inspiration and just an idea. If you don't want to use the Beatles theme, you can choose any profile you want.
Right.
But we have
Melanie's answered our question about Bill. The Beatles song about Bill is titled "The Continuing Story of Bungalow
a
Bill."
Bungalow Bill, right?
Bungalow
Yeah,
Bill.
yeah, that was a long title. Thank you,
Thanks,
thank you.
Bill.
And we have Lin Young is going to do this makeover for Claude Harrison
Nice.
as George Harrison. Great idea. And here I say, well, I have these ancestors that I can work on: Martha, Rita, Prudencia, and my second great grandmother, Julia in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then we have Hillary from Wales. And she plans to work on George William Buckle, as in George Harrison too. So George is taking all the attention for now. So join the challenge even if you're not a Beatles fan, you have a lot of options that you can work on.
Great idea.
I hope you have fun. Yes, I need some ideas for August. So
August.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. Augustus Caesar. Well,
yes, maybe Augustus.
Well, I mean, July could be Julius Caesar, right? July. Julius.
Also, yes, of course. Yes, you name it. You just be creative and have fun. That's what I always say. Have fun.
Yeah, excellent.
That's the idea.
Great.
And if you have any ideas for next month, please just write a message. Let me know.
Sounds great. Denise, do you want to share the questions of the week?
I will share some of them because we don't have enough time to go through all of them.
Really? Eh?
Oh.
Really, we have about 77 profile responses.
Wow.
Yeah, they really liked this question compared to last
That's good. Yeah, that's a good thing.
last time. So let me try to
Okay. Get your screen
this
ready.
over. Yeah.
Hey, Anne is impatient.
Present.
This is Greg. Start Checkers Challenge, please.
She wants to make sure that we get done in time. I will try and be faster.
Yeah, we usually end by 11:30.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these because, as I
No.
said, you see we've got like 4 pages
So just pick
of
and choose a few,
responses. Yeah, so 77 responses. This was a really fun question for some, I guess.
Excellent. Can you zoom in a few notches, Denise? There we go. That looks
Is
better.
that good?
I think so.
Better.
Is that good enough, Vicky?
I would like a couple of more zooms because I'm not wearing my glasses, so I could use.
Is that good?
Yeah.
That should be okay. I think so.
Okay. So we've got. I'll start with this one, but then I'm going to scroll down and look for some with pictures. First, I want to thank everyone who responded. Unfortunately, we will not be sharing all of these on today's meeting, but thank you so much for responding. There were a lot of responses. Myself, unfortunately, I don't have any ancestors that participated in the American Revolution, but it's exciting to read about some of these. So, for example, the first one was from Lauren Millard that says Captain Noah Barber was a participant in the Boston Tea Party.
Now that's cool.
Yeah, very cool. His story, which is hard to verify right now, is that he rode on horseback from Windsor, Connecticut, and was missing for days. In reality, he rode up to Boston to participate in the Tea Party activities and came back unharmed, much to the relief of the family members. So, and it says he also participated in the Lexington alarm, but he went off and did his own thing with the Boston Tea Party. Yeah.
Now, is there a sticker for Boston Tea Party? I just looked on his profile. I don't see one there.
That's a good question.
Or a free space page. That seems like a pretty cool to know people who were involved with that specific event, because that was the turning point, right?
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
Yes. Please tell us in the chat if you know about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. We've got Tommy Bush or Buck.
I think we pronounce it.
Tommy is in the chat, right?
Yeah, he is. So correct us if we're pronouncing it wrong, Tommy, please.
Yeah. There's Johann Frederick Kiesel or Keisel. His 4th great-grandfather served in the 3rd Battalion, Lancaster County Militia in Pennsylvania, and also Robert Whitaker Sr., 6th great-grandfather, performed in the Patriotic Service to Pennsylvania. I'm going to click on these just to see if there's pictures yet. No pictures, but he does have a sticker.
He sounds German, right?
It looks like a German word. Yeah, German name, at least originally.
Johann. Yeah.
You're not sharing your whole screen, Denise, so we can see the profile?
Oh, sorry.
Just so you know.
Okay. I'll try to remember. I didn't want it to go to infinity and beyond.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of tabs open too, so I don't think you all want to see all of those. We have from Kevin Smith. He says, I have identified 29 Patriot ancestors who served in the American Revolution. This includes Lieutenant Charles Saunders, who I proved descent from to become a member of the Sons of the American Revolution. So that's cool. and I will share this tab, even though there's no pictures.
Nice.
Yeah, but he's got the little
Ah,
button there
cool.
that says
nice.
that he's a Mayflower descendant. Cool. Lots of good stickers there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can build up on that biography since we were talking about profile makeovers and
Exactly.
yeah, all the good things we can do with that.
There's a lot of potential.
Lot of potential. Lot of potential. Again, many folks have several ancestors that participated. I'm going to scroll down now because we have so many of these.
Okay. You have to share your screen again. I think that it disappeared.
Did I?
You closed that.
Yeah. Bear with me, folks.
No problem.
Don't worry.
That happens all the time.
Yes, Tommy corrected us that his surname is Buck.
It is Bach.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah. So here's one. Captain Andrew Sharp is fourth great grandfather to Alexis Nelson. Thank you, Alexis.
Wow.
And she's a member of the Daughters of the American Revolutionary War Patriot.
Mm.
Captain Andrew Sharp served as a Pennsylvania militia officer and enlisted in the March 1776 as a foot soldier. He would enlist on 3 separate occasions and serve with General George Washington.
Wow.
He participated in the Battle of Long Island and the Battle of Brandywine and was appointed to the rank of captain by General Washington. At the Battle of Trenton Ferry, he was cited for heroism. So that's awesome. Awesome. And here we've got, love that background.
Oh, we don't see it.
Yeah. I'm going. Sorry.
Okay.
There we go. Ooh,
Yes.
good one.
Yes. Love that background.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Good.
And he's got
Good.
some nice little photos of the Battle of Long Island.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's great. When we don't have pictures, you can have the context, the historical context.
Yeah. Yep. And
you know what? Yeah, this made me think of something that Karen said in her interview. I don't know, Karen, if you're with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's still here. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned something that I really liked, and I forgot to mention it. You said there was a mix of when you heard your aunts or grand aunts talk about your ancestors, you said there was pride and curiosity.
yes.
And I really love that. I mean, I always say we should have T-shirts like pride and curiosity. that's what we all are. So that's a good idea for Asher and Ewan. I love that.
Well, it's true. You're proud of them, but you don't know enough.
Yeah.
You want to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Rob Neff. I think I recognize that name. Liz Shefflett. She has 6 known: George Nolan, George Killian, Samuel Gill, Edward Pegram, Robert Bell, and Willis McDonald. And of course, again, she is a DAR member from Willis McDonald.
Talking about pride.
Sam Gillis. Yeah.
Great.
Yep. See, another one with multiple ancestors.
Wow.
You know, great uncles. There's a colonel. Okay. Help me here. Jeduthan Baldwin.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
First time I've seen that.
Yeah, me too. That's one I hadn't come across before. Nahum Baldwin.
Wow, where are they getting these names?
I know. That's one of the things that would be interesting to find out. Is this something that's coming through the lines, down the line?
Nahum is
Right.
a biblical name.
Is it?
Nahum? Okay.
He's in the Old
Biblical.
Testament.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Isaac is definitely Old Testament, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Zebediah is
Zebediah.
definitely in there. Uh-huh.
I was looking for a Jedediah as well.
Yeah.
Obadiah.
Yeah. So all of these, and yeah, I would strongly encourage, folks to go through this list, because they're identifying a lot of family members that have participated in the American Revolution, and without them, who knows where we'd be right now.
According to Google, Jeduthun was also known as Ethan, and he was a Levite musician and one of King David's chief musicians.
Okay.
So also Old Testament name.
Here's one that responded and placed a picture here. This is Elijah Chapman, his son Daniel Chapman, Hubbard Taylor, his father James Taylor, and those are the ones that he's most certain about. Now, this is K. Smith, he or she, I should say, most certain about. Yeah, other supporting connections include Mary Todd Hubbard, fifth great aunt, who married Thomas Hind, Patrick Henry's personal physician.
Ooh, neat.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Here's one I liked. It shows the gravestone.
Nice.
This is 15 March. Yeah, how about that? A little bit bigger. 15 March 1780, Battle of Guilford Courthouse, Greensboro, North Carolina. Lieutenant General Charles Cornwallis led his hungry and exhausted 2,100 member troop to face off against Major General Nathaniel Greene's 4,500 Americans. Cornwallis lost 27% of his soldiers that day, partly by killing his own men as he fired grape shots from his cannons, killing everyone on the battlefield, both British and American.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. But Cornwallis failed to kill some key people in my life: Robert Means, William Means, and Elijah Joyce. They were my great-grandfathers. Robert Means is memorialized on this marker.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, pioneer settler. Wow.
Wow.
And that was provided by David Draper. Thank you, David.
Nice.
Interesting
Great
stories.
Very.
Yeah. Again, another with many ancestors. Here's one I have a number on both sides. My loyalist, British-leaning ancestors include Miles, Harrison, and Harrison. American-leaning ancestors included members of the Burpee family of New Brunswick. Yeah. Nice. Thank you, Matthew Evans. More loyalist from Matthew. Lots and lots and lots.
Look at that. Amazing.
Okay. Yeah. So for the sake of time, folks, I don't think I'll go through all 4 pages. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes. Since we have Chris is always.
Oh yes,
this is for you. Sono le 10:43. Gregorio.
He really wants me to stay on time, doesn't he?
Yes. And now again, 10:39 a.m.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were there any pictures of the month? Or
Yes, I do. Let me
Okay. Sorry,
share it
Chris.
again.
There's still more coming, but I will be efficient this time. He says, hopefully.
Yes, but we have time.
Let's see. We've got.
But what's the worst? What's the worst you're going to do on July 4th weekend? Have a revolution? Okay.
The theme for this month was firefighters, policemen, right?
Oh, I think you're sure. There we are.
Yeah. So here's
that's the question of the week, right?
Yeah, the photo for the question of the week about fighting in the Evolutionary War, and then of course on Facebook.
Oh, thank you for showing that, Denise. Because sometimes we miss those answers. We only read the ones on G2G.
On G2G.
And there's,
yeah.
So idea.
For the question of the week, we did get a few. A picture here from A.C. Sullivan about the Spanish. Yeah, the Spanish who had been in the Americas since the 15th century contributed munitions and supplies to the Patriots beginning in 1780.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And the Colorado Society.
And the flag.
It's really neat how it's framed, right? You know, with the certificate, but then the people, the flag, and then the commendation there. That is really nice.
Something beautiful to have.
And that's too small, so I really can't see it. Something like the 6th great grandfather. One something. I can't read it all because it's too small.
Oh.
Neat. One something.
Yeah, I can't. Let's see.
Cruz Vigil?
It says 6th grandfather Juan Cristobal Montes Vigil. Juan de la Cruz Vega, Juan Ramón de la Cruz Vega, María, no veo más, Paula Vigil, Juliana. I think that's the whole family.
The whole family. So Vigil is the last name then, I guess?
Yes. Juliana Griego, as in Greek, Griego. Rafael Manuel, I don't know.
It's not Gregorio, no.
Gregorio.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and the certificate, Sons of the American Revolution, certifies that Andrew Charles Sullivan is a member of the Colorado Society.
Oh, that's it. There's a name.
Cristobal Montes Vigil.
It has a typo. Cristobal is with a B, not a V.
That's probably the Americanized way of spelling it, right?
Oh, that's sad.
Well, because it sounds sort of like a V, right? Sometimes.
No. It should be Christopher.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the English way.
So Cristobal Montes Vigil, that would be the one that he was the actual person who fought in the revolution or was part of the revolution.
Yes.
And
that was the sixth great grandfather of the people I mentioned.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. I'm assuming that's a picture of them.
Wow.
Along with the flag.
Nice.
Super nice.
Very cool.
Yep. Very, very cool. The other one didn't have any photos, but Alexander von Hohen, 3 grandfathers that signed the Declaration.
Wow.
I know of. George Washington was a 10th uncle after the fact. and at least 4 grandfathers, opposition and enemy to the United States.
Wow.
Including George III. That's interesting.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you showed the
Mhm.
Facebook post.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So, okay.
Perfect.
And then we did the question of the week, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And the last, celebrate your ancestors with connection to July.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'll just go right into that if you don't mind. Um,
Mhm.
Connections. This one, of course, has a lovely picture. For July, I would like to celebrate my maternal great grandfather. Am I showing that? Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Alvin Porter Long. He was born on 17 July 1867 in Indiana, just 2 days before the 12th birthday of Alvin's father. He was shot in the back
Oh.
as he was coming home from work on the Missouri River Bridge. Alvin's father was a Civil War veteran, and his mother eventually received a small pension, but Alvin and his mother and two sisters had to move with his grandparents. That's a pretty sad story.
Mhm.
Um, Alvin made the land run from the Cherokee Strip in 1893. He was not well versed in farming and surviving in the rugged land, and it was not easy. Alvin became a neighbor lady, became ill. Okay, Alvin became ill. Sorry. A neighbor lady, Phoebe Morris, learned about his plight.
Mhm.
She nursed him back to health. Is this going to be a love story? And
Yeah.
soon married her.
Aw.
Really.
Soon married her. She had family that had also made the land run from with her. So now a helpmate with family to survive the hard times ahead. How
Nice.
nice. Yeah. They had 12 children. Yeah, they worked hard, didn't they?
Wow.
And they all survived mainly by raising hogs and living on hog meat.
Mm.
Wow.
Yep. Alvin had nicknames for all his children and never called them by their given name.
Mhm. That's funny.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So there's a photo.
Mhm.
He doesn't look like a farmer.
He
At
doesn't.
least
Not on that photo, no.
no, not
No.
in the photo.
But maybe that's his Sunday best, you know.
Yep, pretty much.
I, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
that's actually the only answer we have
Yeah.
for the
Amanda's
photo.
suggesting there was no TV in those days, hence the 12 children.
No.
That's yes, that's true. No TV.
No TV. Yeah.
And probably that was the only picture he took, maybe. Of
Yeah,
Yeah.
course, you have to dress your best
yeah,
Exactly.
for the
yeah.
picture, right?
So
Oh.
I've covered all of those unless there's some questions or something else I need to cover. I think I got it. Questions of the week, the celebrities.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
you did.
And the photos that were on Facebook.
Perfect.
All right.
Great.
Great job. Thanks, Denise.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Okay.
And again, I'm Betsy today
You're
Yes.
Betsy. That's right.
For the month.
for the
That's right.
month. Yes.
You're
For
the
the
Betsy
month.
of the
Betsy
month.
for the month. That's right. Yeah. Someone accused me of making a joke here. What was that? Rick. Oh, well. About being efficient.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
I
how
read
that
that.
went. Yeah, you read that. Okay. Well, faction checkers. See, I only have, you guys have two or three bits to contribute, and I only have the one. So, you know, theoretically, mine should be the shortest. And yet
Yes.
somehow.
Yeah, and yet.
And yet. Okay, well, let's see how efficient I can be, because I do know in 1 hour from now, people will be going on to Zoom to talk about the WikiTree challenge this week that Captain Chris Friolo really wants to make sure that everyone is there in time. So we will end plenty of time. Plenty of time. No problem at all. No surprise. This week, the theme for the Connection Checkers game is the American Revolution. And who is your closest one? And I checked it out. And then
Mine are Thomas Jefferson,
Oh, okay.
17 degrees, and George the Third of Hanover.
King George.
And that's really close for me.
Yeah.
I think that's thanks
Yeah.
to the rock challenge, because we're being rocked. Greg and I are being rocked this month.
Yes.
And that got me really close to some American
Nice.
notables.
That's very cool. My closest is Fleury Mesplet, who is French Canadian. See, they're passed away in Bas-Canada, Montreal. So that is not a surprise that one's the closest for me. What about you, Denise and Karen?
My closest is Thomas Jefferson. I'm 9 degrees separation from Thomas.
9.
9, and of course that is due to my husband's family. His aunt is a direct descendant of Sally Hemings.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that something? That is very cool. Very cool. Neat. So people are putting in the chat who their closest is, and that's really neat. What about Karen? Have you checked to see who your closest is?
I haven't looked. I have no idea.
If you go to the bottom of your page, I could actually check. Let's see. Michaud 221. Peter Francisco is your closest at 12 degrees.
12.
Very nice. Interesting. Cool. Well, let's get into them. So the first profile is the headliner is Thomas Jefferson.
Of course.
Of course, yes. Born 13th of April, 1743 in the Shadwell Plantation in Virginia. Passed away on July 4th. Now, how appropriate is that for Thomas Jefferson to actually die on July 4th? 1826 in Monticello, Virginia, United States.
Wow, almost 200 years.
Almost, yeah. Next year will be the 200th anniversary.
Yeah.
I bet you there's got to be some celebrations for that. Well, it's also, wait a second. It would also be, it's an even number of 1776. What would it be? Is it 250?
250, yeah.
250. So there must be huge celebrations for the 250th anniversary of your country, right?
Yeah.
So there he is. So of course he was a president of the United States. He was your third president. This is funny, right? A Canadian giving all of this American history. So some of it, much of it is new to me.
And it's strange that I am closer to Thomas Jefferson than you.
It is. Well, actually, but Denise is the closest, right?
Yes.
You said you were 9 degrees away.
9
right?
degrees of separation, yeah.
That is wild. That is so cool. Wow. Like you're practically in the CC7.
Yeah.
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 That's amazing when you think about it. He was the third president of the United States. He was, I believe, the chief architect of your Declaration of Independence. Principal author of the Declaration of Independence. There it is. I knew I read it somewhere. And one of the most influential of the United States founding fathers. He was a wartime governor of Virginia, first United States Secretary of State, and then the second vice president. So there's a portrait of him signing the Declaration of Independence, or the signing. There's a portrait of him himself. There's 19 portraits altogether. So one of the neat features with this redesign is when there's multiple photos, lots of photos, then you can go to the browse photos area and you can see a bunch of them. Now, because I've zoomed in so much, you're only seeing 2 side by side and you can scroll down the page. If I were to zoom out a bit though, I thought it changed. No, maybe
they would rearrange.
I thought it was going to rearrange.
No, I think
in my
because
mind it rearranged, but I guess it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are.
Maybe it depends on the size of the photo, right?
Could be that. But anyways, either way. So you can see some neat pictures there, from the stamps that he's on to things with some descendancy charts, and then here's some other stamps. We'll place. Oh, Jefferson's servant did Little newspaper item, another family tree, of course, Mount Rushmore. So I'm guessing that's Washington first, right? And then this is Jefferson, because that's Teddy Roosevelt there, and obviously Abraham Lincoln. Very cool. Let's go back to Thomas Jefferson himself. Huge. This is an example of a very well done profile, of course, which isn't surprising. Someone who's so prominent. So I'm not going to go through all the details. There's a couple of things that jumped out at me that I thought was interesting. One is about his love of reading and libraries. So he loved to read. He said, I cannot live without books. I can understand that sentiment. Let me zoom in a bit more here. There we go. And he put together 3 libraries. And we're not just talking a shelf of books like I've got on the side here. His first library held 200 books, and unfortunately that lost to fire. His second library grew to over 6,500 books.
Wow.
And then that's serious stuff. He sold that to the government in order to replace the books he lost when the British forces burned down the Library of Congress. I mean, burning libraries, never a good thing. And then he built a final library which had 2,000 books at the time of his death. That alone is impressive, I think. Loves books so much, and libraries. One of the things it said about him in the beginning was that he had many hats. He had many facets to his horticulturist, statesman, architect, an archaeologist, paleontologist, an author, an inventor, founding the University of Virginia, and also a political philosopher. So, lots of facets. The other history piece that was interesting was that when he was president, one of the things he did was the Louisiana Purchase Treaty was signed. And so if you look at this map here, the white section in the middle is the land that the United States gained from the Louisiana Purchase, which for some reason, I've read about the Louisiana Purchase. We studied it in history when I was in school, partly because Louisiana, of course, was settled by a lot of Acadians who were expelled and moved there. In my mind, I guess I'd never seen a map before, so I just assumed it was this little area around Louisiana that was French, and was then handed over to the States. But in fact, Louisiana is just the bottom little portion, and it's all of the land that fed into the Mississippi River, which of course has so many tributaries and other streams upline. So it's almost a third of your states. And a little bit of Alberta and Saskatchewan there eventually. That's cool. So anyways, very interesting things. Thomas Jefferson. Moving on. George, one of your closest connections, George III, George William Frederick Hanover, who was also known as George III, King of England during the War of Independence, very distant cousin, born in 1738 in St. James Square, passed away on the 29th of January 1820 in Windsor Castle. King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, France, and Ireland. So interesting here. I love the profiles for leaders of countries and whatnot, where it shows the title they have and who preceded them and who succeeded them afterwards, so you can sort of see how the line of progression went. And of course, the kings of England had lots of different titles, and as a Canadian, that's interesting to me. So King of Great Britain, he was known as the King of Ireland, and then in 1801 there was a Union Act, and so now it became the King of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. He also claimed to be the King of France because that was from way back. The kings of England assumed that they were also King of France because they descended from a French noble at one point, or a French king at one point. So Napoleon sort of did when during the French Revolution, and of course, and there were no kings. That claim is sort of didn't make any sense anymore, and then they stopped claiming that after 1801. And then he headed this other title here, Elector of Brunswick, Hanover, which is because of his German heritage, I guess it's his father's line. There's a part of the town or area of Hanover that he's technically a leader of, but didn't really have anything to do with. So there we go. Cool fact about him is that he's the third longest reigning monarch of the United Kingdom, after Queen Elizabeth II and Queen Victoria. So in fact, he's the longest reigning male monarch, because his reign ran from 1760 till he passed away in 1820. So that was 60 years. Which is
41, right?
No, from 1760 to 1820. So from from 1760, he became king, and then the title changed in 1801, but he kept on being king till 1820. So 60 years together. So I don't think our current King Charles III is going to make it 60 years on the throne.
No.
I don't think so.
No. But
it will be a miracle.
Yeah. But William might have a chance if he eats well and lives and, exercises and stays healthy whenever he becomes king. Who knows? Anyways, there we go. And of course, he was king during the Revolution. So next one has Canadian content, Joseph Brant. Now, he was born in Ohio, in the Ohio County, which was part of Nouvelle-France at that point in 1742, just like Canada was part of Nouvelle-France or New France, and passed away in Burlington Bay in Upper Canada, which is now part of Ontario. So born in, and there's his ancestry there. And both of his parents, mother and father, are Native Americans. His father was part of the Mohawk Nation, as was his mother. She was Native American there. Let's go look to his biography. His native name was Thayendanegea, and that's one way of spelling it. There's different ways of spelling it, but he was also known as Joseph Brant. So that was sort of the Americanized or anglicized name for him. He was a Mohawk interpreter, a translator, a war chief, and a statesman. So he was born in 1742 in the Ohio Territory, which again was part of Nouvelle-France at that point in time, near the Cuyahoga River, which is currently close to Cleveland. So that's close to you, isn't it, Denise?
Well, it's further north. It's about 150 miles away, but yes.
Oh, okay. So it's all relative, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all relative here.
Yeah. His mother was a member of the Wolf Clan, but when his father passed away, his mother raised he and his sister in Canajoharie, which is a Mohawk village in the province of New York. And that area, interestingly enough, was settled by the Palatine, Scottish, and Irish immigrants, along with the Mohawk village itself. So it was actually a small little multicultural, multilingual society that he grew up in. So it makes sense that even though he has his native roots and are obviously part of the Mohawk culture, he also was able to integrate and deal with others in the English world. He was closely associated with Sir William Johnson, who was a merchant and a British superintendent for Indian affairs. And Johnson sent him to school in Connecticut to learn and read and write English. And that helped with his eventual job as an interpreter. And during the War of Independence, Joseph and Molly, they were, of course, staunch supporters of the British. So he fought on our side, so to speak, on the British side. And then after the war, they moved from New York to, they moved to Upper Canada. They were part of the Loyalists group, and they established a colony called the Six Nations, or Haudenosaunee, which is the native name for that, in Upper Canada, to prevent further American expansion into Upper Canada at the time. So he was a chief and did lots of things. So in Ontario, there is a county named after him, Brant County, and the main city in there is called Brantford. There are streets named after him, and so he's a very influential member. So very cool. Canadian and First Nations. Next, we have George Augustus Eliot. Okay, so what's interesting about him? So he is also known as Lord Heathfield, Lieutenant General George Augustus Eliot, first Baron Heathfield of Gibraltar, Privy Council of the United Kingdom, and Knight Companion of the Order of the Bath. So he never fought in the War of Independence, either for Britain or for the States. But during that time, he was very busy in Gibraltar. And that was, so he was the governor of Gibraltar, and he commanded the Gibraltar garrison. And while everyone else was fighting over there in America for independence, he was under siege and fighting off the French and the Spanish and kept them at bay. So he was British, right? But I mean, the British were focused on, the War of Independence. So here he was alone in Gibraltar, just sort of doing his thing.
Great.
So that's all I have to say about that. Moving on. We have Pedro Francisco Sr., who is your closest, right? Or who's
mine?
Closest?
No, not mine.
It was Karen's closest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Karen.
mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Born on 9th of July, 1760 in Porto Judo, Angra de Heroísmo, Terceira, Azores, Portugal. Oh, it's Portuguese. How did I do?
Great. Yeah.
Close enough? Yeah.
Yes.
Portuguese. So this is an interesting one. A person I had never heard of before. Have you guys heard of Pedro Francisco?
No,
Okay.
I haven't.
Okay, so he is also known as the Virginia Giant or the Giant of the Revolution. He was an American patriot, was 6'6" tall, massive guy, 260 pounds. He was found abandoned at a wharf in present-day Hopewell, Virginia, about 5 years old. They believed he was Portuguese, probably from the Azores, and possibly kidnapped from his homeland and then taken to America. So he was raised as an indentured servant by Judge Anthony Winston and trained as a blacksmith. In 1775, he heard a speech by the judge's nephew, one Patrick Henry, who is famous for making speeches, including the one, "Give me liberty or give me death." Yes. And he thought, hey, that sounded cool. So he decided he would support the colonies, and he joined the militia. He joined the 10th Virginia militia as a private. He was given a 5-foot sword. Think of how big that is, by General George Washington, because Francisco complained that the ordinary swords were just too light and flimsy.
How did he manage that?
Well,
What's that?
He was 6'6", so
He was 6'6", so he wanted something worthy of his swing or whatever. So.
yeah.
I mean, I guess if a 6'6" giant comes to you and says, "I want a bigger sword,"
Yeah.
you give it to him.
Yeah. You give it to him.
Yeah. So that's very cool. With the names Virginia Giant, Giant of the Revolution, he obviously did lots with it. This is a well done art profile. It goes through all of the different battles. So some of the ones you already mentioned in your questions of the week. Brandywine shows up here. Valley Forge shows up. Monmouth shows up. Names I'd never seen before. Camden, I thought that was a little town in England, but maybe it's cow pens. I mean, we have barns.
That's a special name.
Are they fighting over the barn? The cow pen? I don't know. Anyways, really well done. So I'm not going to go through all these, but I recommend you check that out. And there is a couple pictures of him here. There's a picture of him in battle. And I don't even think that does justice to how large he is. But
Where's the sword?
Where's the sword? Yeah.
I don't see it.
Partly behind his head there. That must be the short one that he was complaining about.
It's like a needle.
All right. Next, we have Deborah Sampson Gannett, born in 1760 in Plimpton.
Oh, a woman.
Plimpton, Plymouth. How to say that? Plimpton, Plymouth Province, Massachusetts Bay. Died in 29th of April, 1827 in Sharon, Norfolk, Massachusetts. She has a very interesting thing. She dressed as a man, and she joined the militia, and she fought all the way through the war as a man.
Wow.
She was wounded. She was examined. They found her to be a woman, and she was honorably discharged from service, and later designated as an official heroine of the state of Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was one of the first settlers of. She was the great-granddaughter of Isaac Sampson, who was one of the first settlers of Plimpton, Massachusetts, and of Lydia Standish, who I'm guessing is related to Miles Standish, famous pilgrim. So she was an American woman. She impersonated a man in order to serve in the Continental Army during the American Revolution War. She described herself as a boy and signed up for service, but she used her dead brother's name. So, it was a legit name. There'd be a birth record. I don't know if they had to show ID or whatever, but she used her brother's name. So that seemed legit, I guess. One of a small number of women who had a documented record of military combat. Her undercover act held mostly for her 17 months of service. She had a close call when she was struck by musket fire, but so she was afraid of discovering it, so she removed shrapnel from her leg herself instead of going to the doctor. And then after a cold winter, she had frostbite. She received a promotion to serve as a waiter. She had one additional close call when she came down with fever. The doctor did discover her secret, but chose not to reveal it. The doctor's wife and daughters nursed her back to health. And they obviously kept the secret too until the war ended. And then she was honorably discharged by the governor general. Wow. Isn't that wild?
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
But when she went back to Massachusetts, she abandoned her disguise and became a woman again, or, acted like a woman again, and then married and had children. So interesting, eh?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Anyone know about that story before then?
No.
No.
I've never heard that one.
No.
That's very cool.
Amazing.
Christopher Green, born in 1737, passed away in 1781. So he was an American legislator and a soldier. He led the spirited defense of Fort Mercer in the 1777 Battle of Red Bank, as well as the leading African-American 1st Rhode Island Regiment during the American Revolutionary War, and most notably in the 1778 Battle of Rhode Island. Did he die? Okay, he passed away in 81. There we go. And where is it here? He was the colonel. He had a black regiment that he worked with. Colonel Green and his black regiment were placed under the command of General John Sullivan for special service in Rhode Island. And the black regiment was a regiment he'd organized of former slaves, so freedmen, who supported the revolution. So I thought that was noteworthy. Unfortunately, he died when the Loyalists attacked the headquarters in Westchester County. And his remains lie beneath a monument raised by the state of New York in the cemetery. Andrzej Tadeusz Bonaventura Kosciuszko, something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
5 times real fast.
Yeah. Tadeusz was born in a manor house on the Merkosha estate in Brest-Litovsk voivodeship in present-day Belarus. And his mother died when he was 21 while a student. He was a prominent military figure during the American Revolution and close friends of George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. He died in Switzerland in 1817 after the war, and his body was brought to Poland and laid to rest in the royal crypt at Wawel Castle in Krakow. So there we go. Who knew you had Polish leaders, revolutionaries as well?
Yeah, how about that?
There we go. Okay, and my closest connection, Fleury Mesplet, was a son of Jean-Baptiste Mesplet and Marie-Antoinette Capot. He was born in 1734 in Marseille, in France, moved to, eventually died in Montreal, but he was in the States because he was a printer from Lyon, which is in France, moved to London, and then he set up a shop there, then emigrated in 1774 to Philadelphia, where lots of things are happening, getting ready for the, independence. The Continental Congress was held there, and he was part of he did printing for that. So he was a printer. His printing press, of course, his printing press was captured, and he was arrested and imprisoned because he was assisting the Americans. The British, obviously, were the ones who imprisoned him and arrested him. He moved to Montreal, and there, after the war, he established the newspaper, the La Gazette, the Montreal Gazette, or La Gazette de Montréal, which was the first daily newspaper in Montreal, and possibly the first in Canada. I'm not sure. Could be. So the Montreal Gazette is one of the premier, most notable newspapers in Quebec and Canada. So very impressive. So there we go. He continued to run the newspaper until his death. There we go. Some more. Richard Montgomery, born in Swords, Dublin, Kingdom of Ireland. Okay, a place called Swords. That's interesting. I wonder if it's just a neighborhood or a townland outside of Dublin. Maybe if John Tyner's still with us in the chat, he can illuminate us on that. And he passed away on New Year's Eve in Quebec City, the province of Quebec. Yes, so he was an Irish-born American military officer. So he first served in the British Army, became a major general in the Continental Army. So that means he switched sides to the American side, right? To the American, and he's famous for leading an unsuccessful invasion of northeastern Quebec. Yes. So Quebec, was originally French, right? And then in 1763, the British had defeated France, so it became part of the British colonies. And so it was called the province of Quebec, but it was under British rule at that point. So during the War of Independence, apparently at one point, the Americans wanted to take part of Quebec for them, not leave it for the British, but that failed. So that's why Quebec is still Canadian. And unfortunately, he died during that that attempt. So, yeah, there we go. John Sevier Sr. Was the first governor of Tennessee from 1796 to 1801. And he also served during the American Revolution. And his bio is fairly short. Just gives sort of the dates and endpoints for that, bullet points. And the last profile, Bannister Tarleton, first Baronet Tarleton of Liverpool. There's your Beatles connection.
Yay.
Was born in 1754 in Liverpool, third of 7 children, born to the merchant John Tarleton. Had extensive trading links with the British American colonies. His nicknames included Bloody Band, the Butcher, and the Green Dragoon. Excuse me. Called the Green Dragoon because of the green uniform that he wore as part of the British Legion. So he fought for the British side during that. Okay. And there's a little portrait of him. And those are your profiles of the week.
Wow. Very diverse.
Yeah.
Portuguese, Irish, French.
Portuguese. Yeah. Yeah. And some really interesting stories, right? That we hadn't heard before. So
yes. And the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So lots of things happening around WikiTree this week. Of course, the WikiTree challenge for Catherine Wilson is ongoing, and in 30 minutes, the team will be getting together to talk about how things are going. So please do that. It was great having Megs as our special guest last week and talking about the news about the connection between collaboration, Family Tree DNA, and WikiTree. And if you want a little bit more details about that, on Monday of this week, we had the Tech Talk Zoom call, and Megs was our special guest on that. And she talked a little bit more about that and hinted that there's even more things that will be coming out of that collaboration. She herself is writing a blog post to give some more details. I think her blog post is for Family Tree DNA members, to learn more about what WikiTree has to offer them as well. So that's a very exciting thing that's still upcoming. The post that Chris made asking for feedback or thoughts, reactions to the plan of connecting biological parents, please, I think that's up for just a few more days. So if you haven't had a chance to read this and react to that, please do so, because we do want to capture, lots of points of view so that we make the right decisions. I say we, but it's not me making the decision. We, WikiTree in general.
The community.
The community, yes.
Trying to get some resolution. This has been going on for a couple of years now, hasn't it?
What's that?
This question?
Yes, it has. Yeah, we've been talking about this, or they've been talking about it a lot. I've been asking for it so I can update my apps to be able to include both sets of parents. So it's something, it's going to happen. And the question is just to make sure that we can do it the right way that respects everyone. So the people who, want to see both sides of the family and be able to celebrate that, we can do that. But those that need to keep that separate are still allowed to be able to do that too and stuff. So I think they've come up with a good plan that can meet those needs. Sign up for the Connect Fund if you haven't already done so. And there's details about the.
Did you join any team? What's your team for this?
I'm Team Italy this time.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
And
Globetrotters.
What's that?
Globetrotters.
Globetrotters. Denise?
Yes, my team.
Team Roses.
Team Roses. Oh, nice. And what about you, Karen?
I have never played any of
Oh.
that. I'm so busy with other things, I just don't look for that to do.
Okay.
Shame on me, I'm sure.
Well, no, I mean, there are WikiTree members who don't like, some people just don't like the competition, and that
Yeah.
they that
fine.
freaks them out. I'm not sure if that's the right word for it, so that's fine. It's but you enjoy it, and it doesn't have to be competitive. You just make it. You just go through and do it. But anyways,
Toddling tortoise.
toddling tortoise. You could be a toddling tortoise. Cool. So if you want to find out what's happening, there's a GDG post here that gives you lots of stuff. We did have an Ask Alesh this week where we went an hour and a half talking. Well, there was only one question that we had to answer, and yet somehow we surprisingly
Forever.
Yeah, but it was very good, and Alesh shared some really neat things, especially near the end. That
guy is brilliant. Oh my gosh.
He is. Social media posts. Click on here to find out what's happening and to promote it on your own social media. Just spread the good news about WikiTree. There will be a new question of the week come Monday. The one name study that we're highlighting this week will be Lang. Another Connection Checkers game will be posted on Tuesday. The one place study is Baraga in Michigan, which is nice since our WikiTree challenger is from Michigan. She's a Michigander. So that's kind of nice that we have a Michigan one place study. Then there'll be a new member Zoom on Thursday. So join Betsy and Murray, and Denise, you take part in that too?
Yes, I do attend. Yeah.
You do attend.
Yeah.
And I actually learned things. I'm not a newbie. I've been around for 5 years, but they still have information that I picked up in that meeting. Yeah.
That's great.
And will you be covering for Betsy too?
I have not been asked to. Usually Murray or Steve does that.
Mm-hmm.
But if any questions come up that I can answer, I usually chime in.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. And then there'll be a Friday date night on Friday. So there we go. And we'll talk about Hollywood Wall of Fame, and then we'll be back next Saturday. And there you have it.
Yay.
All the news fit to print. So 25 minutes now for the Zoom call for the WikiTree challengers. So you have 25 minutes to get together your peanut butter sandwich, or whatever. And anyways, have a great week, everyone. Thank you, Karen, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And hanging out with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck on your video production. We'll look forward to seeing some new ones. And
thank you. Any day now.
Yeah, any day now. I know.
Any
They take so long to.
I'm trying to get it right. It's a complicated one.
Yeah.
The learning curve.
That's right.
Yeah. Looks suspiciously vertical.
Yeah.
Always great to see you again, Denise and Vicky.
Yes.
And
thank you for joining us.
Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Great weekend.
See you next week. Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.